Him taking the blue pills! He's taking the blue pills! You gotta get on the red pills, Neo! You gotta get on the red pills now! Matrix 4 is coming out. A new trailer has dropped. If you're my age or around my age, you probably think The Matrix is one of the most important films. It was the Star Wars of the late 90s because it told important stories about the nature of reality. Cited philosophers such as Jean Baudrillard, who claims it didn't really understand what he was on about. Nonetheless, is The Matrix the most important film of our time? Is it a contemporary myth that helps us understand our relationship with the external world and the nature of the relationship between the subjectivity and the objectivity? Or is it vice versa?
I've had dreams that weren't just dreams.
Like, The Matrix is such a wonderful film for so many reasons. It created its own image system that was instantly identifiable, them digital binary codes running down the screen. That film went deep in my head, by the way. I was working and living in London at that time. I wasn't famous yet. I was going around in a long coat, like walking down busy Oxford Street in central London, like not looking at people as if like staring straight ahead in the middle distance. That's right, I'm in a Matrix. Oh, sorry, sir, sorry. Like, you know, I loved it. I loved that film because for me, the fundamental idea that we are batteries, that we are in a cell, that we're switched off from the true nature of reality and living in a simulation is a very resonant idea. I don't think it literally that we're in batteries. It's surrounded in like pink hand soap with a thing down the back of our neck holes, although for a minute I was entertaining the notion. I think more that we are embedded through language and through the conditioning of our culture in a reality that is a model of reality that is highly tuned to preferred outcomes for particular sets of people, institutions and groups, that you're not able to see the full nature of reality, even just because of the limitations of the senses. I can't see photosynthesis taking place. I can't see what's happening at the submolecular level in this plant as it lives and breathes. I can't see the true nature of time, only human scale time. So the metaphor of the Matrix is a powerful one, not to mention its beautiful allusions to things like Christianity and Neo as a Messiah who dies and gets resurrected in the first film. Morpheus as a kind of John the Baptist figure. It's got all sorts of potent stuff in this, all sorts of potent archetypal information. Joseph Campbell, God rest his soul, if he were alive, I bet he'd have had a field day analysing that story. Trinity, I mean, all of the biblical names, the divine feminine in her. I adore it. And this trailer and this film, Matrix 4, looks like it's a return to the first one. Some people really like the second and third one. It weren't my cup of tea, them two films, the second and third one, because what I fundamentally liked was the idea that when you're in reality, that is the secondary world. The true reality is within you. Because I suppose I look at these things intuitively from a spiritual perspective rather than a philosophical perspective, even though Baudrillard, who Lana Wachowski cites along with her sister as the sort of a primary influence on the thing, sort of said they didn't really get what he meant. To tell you the score, as I understand it, on Baudrillard, he wrote some important essays around the time of the Gulf War saying these wars have become sort of constructions, distractions. It's not like they're really happening. They're primarily entertainment rather than an old school conflict. It's not like the First World War. There's all sorts of bloodshed and death and awfulness, although there is always suffering, of course, associated with war. It's like it's primarily a spectacle, primarily that reality has become performative, that we say the types of things we say, that we live in a reality that's continually influenced. I think he wrote like about Friends even maybe, and said that we live in this sort of imitative space, like you'll start to see things that emerge as fiction imitated back and forth to the point where you don't know what's real. Even something like the return of Cristiano Ronaldo to Manchester United could be regarded as the sort of fulfilling of a real-time myth that engages so many subconscious emotions that the actuality of the transfer is difficult to identify and understand. The Matrix is a film, a mainstream film, that's helping you to analyse reality from quite an esoteric perspective. The images, the black cat, the glitch in the Matrix, deja vu, meaning you're tuning into a secondary frequency, and of course, ahead of it all, red pill, blue pill. Do you want to be awakened to the deeper truth of reality, or do you want to go back to sleep? That is the fundamental metaphor, the potent image, the what Lynch would call duck's eye of the situation. Bam! The crosshairs, you know? Like, do you want to deal with reality as it is, recognise that you're being conditioned by the mainstream media, controlled by the government, dominated by the interests of powerful financial entities, or do you just want to operate within it and satisfy yourself with some sort of quivering little half-life of a denizen slave? Well, the Matrix and the core dilemma at the heart of the Matrix is wake up, wake up. I wonder what the Wachowskis feel about the red pill metaphor, primarily seemingly belonging to groups that you might, from a traditional perspective, although I increasingly think these perspectives are melting away into nothing, consider to be on the right, as opposed to what is now called the left, which is primarily concerned with issues that are, well, the whole thing is pretty complicated. I think that the Matrix is a tool. The metaphors found in the Matrix, because they are so heavily resourced from mythology and from contemporary postmodern philosophy, can be used as a sort of tool for understanding many of our dilemmas that we're facing right now. What is the nature of reality? Who are you? What is it to be a hero? Are you willing to let go of the illusion and live in the truth and the real world? Or do you want to go back to sleep like, what was he called? Lucifer, or whatever that dude was called, like, you know, and eat the steak, go back, even though it's an illusion, it's beautiful. I'm an addict. I think that kind of thought all the time. I know it's not real. I don't want to look at pornography. It's pointless, but the feelings don't lie. The hips don't lie, in the words of Shakira. The feeling is so powerful. You know, I think that the Matrix is a call to awakening. I'll be really interested to see what this fourth installment mobilizes, emphasizes, amplifies.
One pill makes you larger.
He's taking the blue pills. He's taking the blue pills. You gotta get on the red pills, Neo. You gotta get on the red pills now.
Don't do anything at all.
I like that Keanu now looks sort of like knackered, doesn't he? Like, he's still beautiful, of course. He'll always be beautiful. I was on a talk show with him once, and like he was there to promote John Wick, and I hadn't heard of John Wick at that point. Like, John Wick sounds like a carpet shop. He's like, come on, man.
Go ask Alice.
Some good use of cultural artefacts, the philosophy of Baudrillard, the writing of Lewis Carroll, and their own mythology. It looks to me like it's going to be pretty good, like that it's talking about Neo going dormant and Neo reawakening, Neo having forgotten his heroism. I've talked before on our podcast about a devotee of Ram Dass's guru who got totally awakened, you know, at like 19, a kid from Cincinnati who went out to India, then went back to America with Ginsberg and Ram Dass and went on the circuit and got into all the indulgence, and within a few years he was working as a car salesman. Peculiarly enough, meaning to say that like awakening and enlightenment are not permanent states, they need to be cultivated. I see it from a spiritual perspective. A lot of people will see awakening as a kind of getting fierce and like, rah, confront this bullshit, confront the establishment, which may be necessary things to do. But for me, it's all about become awakened so you can understand yourself, so you can observe yourself, so you can become connected. For me, it's primarily a spiritual metaphor. What is it about Keanu Reeves that he keeps getting to be awakened ones? He was Siddhartha, he's this geezer, although Ted wasn't that awakened.
You don't know me. No?
Some badass kung fu. One of the things I felt when I watched The Matrix is, bloody hell, how near the knuckle can you get with your messaging with people just going, that was a good film? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, reality is an illusion. Your energy's being exploited. You're being kept conditioned. You need to awaken right now and join a tribe of renegades and challenge the system that's trying to turn you into automatons through AI and a variety of devices to control your senses and keep you trapped in an illusion. That was pretty good. What's the sequel like? Not as good. This one better be good.
After all these years, to be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
Cool, good bit of propaganda, good commercial entity, but loaded with powerful messages. I think the Wachowskis, I think it's both of them working on it. Again, I assume so. Are fantastic genii working in the genre. I reckon it's going to be some beautiful stories that raises important ideas. But if you want to take a real message from the Matrix, and I'm sure you do, it's wake up. Take the red pill, whatever you consider the red pill to be. Me, I consider the red pill to be love, unity, connection, transcendence of your own primal desires to live on the bandwidth of selfishness and greed. Awaken to tolerance, awaken to new ideas. Don't live in the shash and static of what you've been conditioned to be. Rise up and become free, find new frameworks, break out of the Matrix. I've very nearly hurt my back doing impressions of that for a while. I'm older now and I've accepted the reality, like Beanie Hat Neo. If you enjoyed that video, let me know in the comments below. Are you excited about the new film? Do you think it'll be good enough? How do you see it? What do you think about the language in the Matrix and the images, and who owns the Matrix? Who does it belong to? If you enjoyed this video, maybe you'll enjoy this little bit of cultural analysis from a little while ago. And if you want to awaken in real life, from me, a real life Morpheus, watch this video to use some spiritual techniques to get yourself out of that goddamn Matrix. Sign up to my mailing list too so you can join the revolution.